At 106.5 FM, K293CF, Moreno Valley.
Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy Sunday. You listen to Whatever Works on KCAA 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM. I'm your host, Sam Works.
I'm Kyle Kerrigan.
And tonight, it's just the two of us.
Yes.
No, we actually have a lot of people here in the studio, but our guest, unfortunately, did not show up, which is okay. So while we get all the volume and voices going, let's just enjoy this song.
Hey, feeling good.
Hey.
Like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood.
My mic number?
Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best.
All right, you guys. I hope you guys had a happy Sunday. It is only 7 o'clock. We still got a couple hours unless you guys go to sleep early. I know a lot of people are listening to our show, and the reason why I know that is because I talked to a lot of people this past week. They're super excited. They have my number. I was texting them, letting them know that, hey, my show's going to be starting every Sunday at 7. So
Yeah.
actually, Kyle and I, what we've been doing, it's pretty cool. We've been going to a bunch of businesses here locally and handing out our radio flyers.
Yeah.
And, man, as long as I've been here in Yucaipa and Redlands, I never noticed all the little small businesses around town.
Exactly.
So we stopped by a few of them. There's some pretty cool ones.
That shout out to that plant shop.
I like that plant shop.
That was amazing.
Did I tell you about that plant shop? Man, yeah. So that's actually off in Redlands. I'm not sure what the cross streets were, but it's a bunch of small little businesses.
It's like right off Tennessee and something.
Yeah. past Colton Avenue, I believe.
Yeah, it's past Colton Avenue.
Yeah, but I went to Walgreens the other day with my lady. And I got a little bonsai tree with like little seeds and stuff, so I can make it grow. It's gonna take 2 months for the seeds to sprout. But anyways, I heard that bonsai trees are extremely hard to take care of.
Yeah.
Right.
That's crazy.
And I was like, okay, but they're also pretty expensive.
Yeah, I heard.
So I know my uncle. He has like 10 like pretty massive bonsai trees.
Oh yeah.
In these pots in his backyard, and dude, he paid thousands of dollars for plants, bro. And I'm like, what? That's the That's the
ultimate Zen plant, though.
Is it?
Is
there a reason for that?
I'm not sure. I'd have to do more research on it.
Well,
I just know it goes back to thousands of years. Like they've been using it.
Yeah. Well, maybe because it is a plant that is extremely hard to take care of, and a plant that takes forever to grow. Yeah. So maybe the whole Zen is like patience or something.
You definitely got to have patience with those trees.
Yeah. So I know our guest is not here tonight, but can you talk about who the guest was, like, coming in?
Yeah, Nourish Spirits. Shout out to them. She sells jewelry out of her garage in Moreno Valley. We'll tag the Instagram at the end of the show, but she's more into like being in tune with the spirit, your spirit, your aura. So she sells jewelry, and I went up to her because I'm a property inspector, and I inspected that house 2 streets down, but I saw her, and I was like, and honestly, I thought it was like alcohol or something, because it said spirit. So I was like,
Okay.
I was like,
like a beer or something.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And that's just where my mind went, and I know it's bad, but so I was like, okay, I'll check it out. It was my last house of the day, so I was like, I'll check it out after that. So I go and I look, and I'm like, I see jewelry. So, I'm still gonna check it out. So I walk up, I introduce myself. Her name's Angela. Super nice.
Mm.
And she said, well, I sell all this jewelry, based off like aura energy. I said, okay, you tell me what you see, like,
and me, like what rock or what thing
Yeah.
I should get? Okay.
yeah. I said, tell me which one I should get based off my energy, and I'll buy it.
Mm.
And she said, okay. And she got it like spot on.
Got what?
Like, she's like, some, like, there's a specific quartz. I can't think of the name of it, but it was like the birthstone of May.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, yeah, I was born in May. That's crazy.
All right, you got me.
I was like, yeah, you got me. Of course, I'm gonna buy it. So it was like, really cool. And like it comes with like a little note, like a little bit better than what you would get in like a fortune cookie. And
Mhm.
it comes in this like bag. It's like this little cute bag, and then she puts the jewelry in it, a note, and then something else was in there. But it's like $10-15 depending on what it is.
No, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's cool. And she tells you, what that stone is, the aura around it. If you wear a specific stone, you attract specific things. And
Oh, interesting.
I was like, I want to attract happiness, and I want to attract like good fortune and like safe travels because I'm traveling everywhere
All the time, yeah.
all the time. And so she's like, I got something for you. And so I'm not wearing it tonight, but
You should have.
I should have.
What if
Yeah.
she showed up and you weren't wearing it? You know.
I completely forgot.
Oh wow. Well, it's probably a good thing she didn't show up then.
Yeah, but no, it was it was really cool, and you never know who you're gonna meet every day. You know what I mean? Completely
Yeah.
random stance.
Yeah.
And like just walking up to somebody and talking to them, I got to meet her, and I got to meet other cool people, on my travels. So, it's about stopping and getting to know people, and like you never know, you might click with them, you might not,
Mhm.
but it's a part of life, and it was just one of those things that I wanted to support, and we both support small business, so
Yeah, we do.
I was like, this would be perfect,
Mhm. Yeah, it's actually one of it's a good thing to follow because when you go out and travel, even out of the country, and you talk to people and you maybe become friends with them,
Yeah.
it's always a good idea to make friends
Oh,
wherever you
yeah.
go
Oh, that's
because
true.
if you ever go back to that place, let's say you go take a trip to London or something, and you find a friend, and then you go back to the United States, and then like a year or two later, you're like, hey, I'm going back to London, da, 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 and then now you have a place to stay.
Yeah.
Right? Or you have someone to show you around, The story that cracks me up is your story when your buddy was like, oh, I dare you to go. Where did you go?
Oh, yeah. I don't even think I told my dad or my mom this, but Indonesia. This was crazy. This was like, I still actually talk to Jay and his family every once in a while.
Mhm.
And they're thinking about sending their son to UCLA
Mhm.
or USC, one of the California schools. He asked me, he said, hey, if I send my son here, would you be willing to watch him? I said, yeah, I'll talk to him, all that. And so I got his WhatsApp, and I've been talking to him, and he's going to be coming. I don't know if he got accepted into the school yet,
Mm.
but yeah, no, it everything goes full circle. I have stories like that. I have stories in Namibia. I had someone I met in Namibia come down
Oh, really?
because I promised them. I said, hey, you show me a tour of your little city here. If you come down to the U.S., where I'm from, I'll go out of my way, and I'll show you around, no matter what I'm doing. And so this was senior year. This is before I dropped out.
Mhm.
And they're like, hey, I'm going to L.A. And I had a couple labs coming up. And I said, you know what? Screw it.
Really?
I ended up skipping the labs, and I was showing them around L.A. Because I said, I'm one thing about me is I'm a man of my word.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I made a promise. I was like, man, these labs are kind of important, but I know I can make them up. And I talked to my professor too. I said, hey,
This guy from Namibia.
I'll show you proof, whatever. You know, if you want to dock me for the classes, go ahead. I'm not showing up. He goes, okay, thanks for your honesty. And he actually was able to, for at least one of the classes, like, you know, make me make it up, which is cool.
That is pretty cool.
But he's like, I'm not doing both. I said, no, I get it.
You pick which class you want me to.
I was like, I get it, you know. And so, yeah, I showed him around LA. You know, we went down to the Santa Monica Pier. I was showing him that. I was like, this is the Pacific, you know, because when we hung out, we all went on a trip to Group Fontaine, I think it was called. And it's a city that's it looks like Solvang but like Long Beach. It's really cool.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's like 3 times. It's like literally Long Beach, as big as Long Beach, but like Dutch architecture and structure.
And this is in Africa?
Yeah, this is in Namibia on the coast.
Bro, that would trip me out.
Yeah. And so, no, it was cool. I got to see the dunes. So like you get to see like these orange, yellow dunes, and then it stops and it goes to water. So it's like a color change like immediately, and it was so cool. I got pictures of it on my computer, but so he was showing me. He's like, I've never been to the Atlantic. And it was like, what, really? Like you never been to like the East Coast, like New York? I was like, no. This is the first time seeing the Atlantic on the opposite side, which is cool. And so I was like, you know, this is your first time seeing the Pacific on the opposite side. Because, you know, you got the Indian Ocean, and then they'd have to go to China to go to see the Pacific. And so, yeah, showing him, yeah, it was really cool. It was a really good experience. It was about 4 days they stayed.
Dang. Where did they stay?
They stayed at this hotel somewhere in, it wasn't in L.A., it was just outside.
Oh, outside LA.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, anywhere around there, it's still expensive, you know?
Yeah, no, they stayed with one of the professors that they know from the program that I was in. And so they were showing him around, but then they came a little bit earlier, didn't tell them. Like, hey, you know, it's just you and me time. I was like, yeah, no, I got you.
And so what do they think about LA or, like, the United States as a whole, like, when they came to visit?
So the funniest thing about Namibia, Indonesia too, is they think everyone here is like, at least California, like a movie star. Like a movie star, or they know someone famous, or they are famous, or like
Driving yellow Lamborghinis.
Yeah, everyone's rich. Everyone's like, it was a culture shock for them, because we all sat down and we were talking in Namibia about what we do, you know, about our lives. And it was a shock to them to know that they were more like us than we think, or than they think. You know, that like, you know, we go to work and we take care of our parents, or we go, you know, we all do the same thing. It's just, you know, we're in different countries. But a lot of people don't like our government. A lot of people don't like, you know, they're kind of indifferent towards us. But some of the smarter people, or like some of the people, you know, who actually who are actually pretty decent, know that the people aren't like the government.
I see.
You know,
Because they're looking at us at face value.
right.
Right.
You know, and it's like that. You know, you think about other countries too, like, you know, North Korea, or like even, you know, just name a random country. You know, you might not approve of the government, but you still feel bad for the people. You know what I mean? And so it's like that with us. And Trump was president when we went. And so that was an interesting experience, you know, talking to Namibians. So, like, you got the guy from that business show to run your country?
You're like, yeah.
And we're like, yeah, everyone voted him in.
That's funny.
And it was like a mind blown, like,
Hmm.
and like I also explained some of the history of our presidents too. Like, we've had actors as presidents, like Reagan. Reagan was an actor, like a really big actor in the 40s and 50s, and then he became governor of California, and then became president.
Oh wow, didn't know that.
Yeah. And so- yeah, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor of California. I was explaining that too.
Uh-huh.
They're like, the Terminator.
The Terminator. Like
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah, they're like, no way. The Terminator ran your state. I was like, yeah, for 8 years. Just-
Just taking over.
they're like,
Yeah, speaking of like similarities and differences with like countries and stuff. So I went to this a pet shop, aquarium shop, whatever, to buy some fish. And the guy who owns the business, he married a Korean woman, right?
Yeah.
And so we were kind of talking and joking and laughing. And he was like, when we like when people think of like going to Korea or like China, like they all look the same, right?
Yeah.
But when he married his wife, she was explaining to him that every American looks the same.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
And I was like, how does every American look the same? Like, we are so mixed. Like, I have dark hair, you have like a red beard. Like, how do we all look the same? Like different heights and all that. Because in Korea, it's like the average height is like, short and da 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 da.
Yeah.
And so like when we think of, all the Koreans looking the same, that's how they view us as well. All Americans look the same.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, when he told me that, I was like so shocked. I was like, how is that even possible? Like, we don't look anything like. Almost everyone looks different here in America.
Yeah.
It's
It's true, but they think we all look the same.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like I got called so many, like, from saying I'm from California, I got told I look like Bruce Willis. I said how?
Bruce Willis.
I said how?
Hey, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, go on kca.com right now, watch us live, and look at Kyle and tell him he looks like Bruce Willis.
I got told I look like Bruce Willis. I got told I look like Big Show.
Big Show.
Yeah.
Okay, Big Show. I can.
Yeah. I get told I look like I forgot who else that like blew my mind.
Really.
I was like, yeah, no way.
Has anyone showed you a picture of someone that actually looks like you?
No.
No. Dude, I had a trip one time. I think I said this a while ago, but I walk into my science class, and this was in high school, and all these girls, they're like hovering over this phone, and they're like looking at me, looking at the phone, looking at me, looking at the phone. And they were like tripping, and I was like, what are you guys looking at? And then they're like, oh, this guy, he looks just like you. And he's from Canada. I think his name was like David or something. It was a basic name, just kind of like my name, like Sam David. But anyways, I was like, yeah, okay. And I looked at the phone, and bro, it took me by surprise. Like I had to look at it twice. Like I did a double take to actually like make sure. I was like, wow, it almost looked like a mirror. I was like, wow, that is pretty identical to me. And then like some people, when I'm out here serving and stuff, they're like, oh, you look so familiar. Like, oh, you look like my nephew or my cousin, da da da. And they show me pictures, and I'm just like, not really,
Yeah.
But that one in particular was the closest, like, honestly, doppelganger to the T. The only thing he didn't have was like my scar on my eyebrow, but I was like, wow, some guy in Canada looks just like me. I was tripping,
Oh man.
Yeah.
I think the craziest experience I had, like, besides being called Bruce Willis, was that
That's pretty funny.
I was at Target in Azusa, and this lady comes up to me, and she looks like she saw something. She said, hey, I don't want to sound weird, but you look like my son. I was like, oh. I was like, it was kind of weird at first. But she kind of explained, she said, I guess she lost her son like 5 years prior. And she showed me a picture, and I could kind of see it. He was a little bit taller which made me a little mad.
On the shorter version.
Yeah. And so, and she's like, yeah, no, sorry, I didn't mean to look at you like that, or stop you. But it was just, good to see you, or I don't know.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
You know, because there's movies out there where like the kids find out that their parents are not actually their parents until like later.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then they'll be like, their actual parents confront them like, I'm your dad, or like whatever. As a kid, for like the longest time, I've always asked myself or told myself, like, what if? If like some crazy guy, quotations came up to me, he's like, I'm actually your dad, like da 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 da, like I wouldn't like cross that out. Because like imagine being in that position, you like tell your son like I'm actually your father, and he's like I don't believe you. It's like, so I always give it like the benefit of the doubt. If anyone came up to me like I'm actually your dad, I would have been like like
he's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, dude. So I don't know, it's kind of funny.
We'll take a test, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Hey, if you guys want to chime in, if you guys want to ask questions or have any topics for us to talk about, you guys can always call in at this number.
888-909-1050. That is 888-909-1050.
Yeah, so we're just chopping it up. We did have a guest coming in tonight, but unfortunately she wasn't able to make it. But we do have basically all of March booked.
Yeah.
We have a lot of amazing guests coming up here pretty soon. Hey, some of them are up and coming,
Yeah.
The one I'm really excited about is actually my friend. His name's AJ. He's a amateur boxer going into pro right now, and he's gonna come on. He's gonna go to Mexico for some training, but he wanted to come on before he went, and then he wanted to come back after training and stuff. And I was actually at the gym. I was at EOS, and I'm walking. I have headphones in, and all I hear is Sam. And I look, and I recognize the face, but I couldn't remember his name. I was like, because like we both grew up, like it's been some years now since high school. And he was like, do you remember me? And I was like, honestly, bro, I remember the face, but that's about it. He's like, dude, this is what he told me. He was like, yeah, bro, like I jumped in I hopped in your trunk and at a party one time, da 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 da, and you took me home. And I was like, that's how you remember me, bro? Like, I allowed you to go in my trunk? Like, I had so many, like, I don't want to say times, but, like, memories of, like, people saying, like, hey, I need a ride. I'm like, well, there's no room in the car. And, so very dangerous. I don't do that no more. Just wanted to put that out there. But it's crazy how, like, you meet people or you reconnect with people that you haven't talked to in a while.
Right.
And some of them are just out there doing amazing things, you know? Like, he got his life squared away. He's actually sponsored by, like, Chai Coffee and a couple other businesses here locally.
Oh, okay.
And, he's becoming a pro boxer right now. And,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, I'm rooting for him. But, I had this guy, he came into the restaurant, and he was with his wife. And I'm sure he's probably listening right now because he said he was going to listen tonight. So hopefully you are. But anyways, before he came to the restaurant, he was telling his wife, he's like, hey, where are all the like young hustlers at nowadays? Because there's not a lot of people are out there working all the time trying to make something out of themselves.
Right. Yeah.
And I thought about it. I was telling my girl, I was like, I was kind of waiting for that day for someone to ask me, like, hey, what do you do? Because I do so much.
Yeah.
And this guy was actually like, he was happy to see people working,
Right, yeah.
like these young guys. And there's far from few nowadays.
Yeah. No, exactly.
And I just think it's because we have such an easy life right now that.
Right. Yeah.
And you know what he asked me? He goes, what motivates you to do all this? Like, what gets you going? And I told him, I was like, dude, honestly, I feel like most people think that they're, like, immortal. Like, we have time.
Yeah.
So we're going to slack off, Like, imagine if we were immortal, we would probably get nothing done.
Yeah.
We'll be like, eventually it will finish because we got all the time in the world, you know? And And I'm just looking at the people around me, like, reality is reality. It is what it is. But like, I had friends left and right just die around me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's getting pretty close to my circle. Like,
Yeah.
it's just closing in right now. So I got to make sure we get some stuff done. And so I don't know. It's a good time to be alive. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's great, but we have to make sure we take advantage of it.
Right. Exactly.
I'm not the type of person that says that, like, oh, take advantage, but in this life, you might as well. And what's crazy? So I love going on lunches and networking with people. And speaking of one of the people, Blake Vezamendez, we had B&D pressure washing on.
Yeah, I remember that.
So we caught up, we grabbed some lunch, and we're talking back and forth, and they're doing great. We're going to have them back on the show. Guys, we're talking in 3 years, they're one of the number one locally here businesses for like pressure washing and handymanning. If you just look up on Google, they're first on the list. B&D pressure washing. They do more than just pressure washing. They do like handiwork, cosmetic work, things like that around the house. But they're contracted with a bunch of commercial companies and residential and all that good stuff. But I was talking to them, and I was like, I had a friend that I used to live with who literally did nothing, and I say it all the time. I says, if you do nothing and you feel like nothing, like, are you surprised? And I would come in from work, I would come in from the gym, I'll come home, and I'm being productive, I'm being active, and I'm feeling good. Like, I love life. I appreciate life. I owe my life to God and my family, and that's why I'm working all the time. Yeah. But he's always coming with like some counteractive excuse on like why I shouldn't work. He was like, dude, there's no point in life because you're just gonna die anyways. Like, what's the point, right? Because it's not like you can take anything with you in your afterlife, whatever. And I was explaining that to Blake, and he said, well, how's that going for him? And I was like, dude, I wish I can tell him that, because my buddy was so sad and so depressed for so long. Even when we moved on and he's living somewhere and I'm living somewhere else, like, even up to that point, he was still depressed. He was still sad. So I don't even know where he's at right now in terms of his mindset. But, I was trying to find answers with every objection that he came with me about why nothing matters.
Yeah.
And when Blake was just like, well, like, how's that going for you? I was like, oh my God, that the most simplest thing I could have asked him, And so I really hope he's doing good, dude.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think about them too, it's someone that I feel like I've always had great conversations with them, especially when I came to hang out with Timmy.
Mm-hmm.
You, Timmy. And so, I always had great conversations, great laughs. He's a funny guy. He
is a funny guy, bro. When he's alive, when he's living, he's a great dude to be around.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna get into specifics because I don't want to air out his stuff, but he was really passionate about a specific job up north. Mm-hmm. You remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, hey, why don't you go do that? Just drop everything, go do it. Go figure it out. And, I feel like I almost convinced him.
Mm.
I said, hey, and this goes to everyone. If you feel like you have nothing here, be a nomad. Move on.
Mm-hmm. Because what are you risking about staying here if there's literally nothing?
Yeah. There's nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
But you have everything to gain.
Right.
And there's opportunities everywhere. You just have to search for them and, be willing. When I was in Namibia, I got a job offer to stay there. And, had it not been for, taking care of my dad and my mom, or running a business, I probably would have stayed. I would not be here right now.
Wow.
And they offered me It was like starting plus pension like $72,000 US, which is a lot of money.
That's a lot of money out in Africa.
And you know, it was to be part of the physics program at NAST, and so you know, they offered me to be like one of the colleagues, just to study under one of the professors, and then eventually, you know, get my degree and then move
Soar
up.
from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't be a co-host. You wouldn't.
I would have. Yeah. Well,
Right.
see, here's the thing. You know, I said no to that opportunity. Another one came up,
Mm,
and I'm here right now.
yeah. And not only that, like
yeah.
you're with your dad.
Exactly. You know.
Like when my dad unfortunately lost his job and didn't have anywhere to live, he moved back to his parents, and he's like, "Dang son, like this sucks."
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I'm in my 40s, approaching 50s, and I'm living with my parents. And I was like, Dad, you haven't seen your parents in over 20 years. Like, things don't happen to you. Things
Yeah,
happen for you. And I was like, you really got to look at that in a different perspective, because, like, your parents are getting older, you know? And whether you have a bond with them or not, like I said earlier on the show, we're not immortal, you know? Like, eventually we're all going to pass. We're all going to be asleep. And so I was like, it's a blessing for you to go back to your parents, you know? And he was like, yeah, you're right. And I was like, yeah, I'm right. Come on, Dad. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you can't hate me. All right, you guys, we ran a little bit past. It is a little after half hour past 7, but we're going to be taking a quick 5-minute break. And when we come back, we are going to continue our conversations. If you guys want to chime in or switch up the topic, or, you know, whatever works, right?
Whatever works.
So we'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. Stay tuned.
Feeling good, like I should. When in Durga, walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Yeah.
From the Bureau of Economic Geology, this is Earth Date. There's one Earth system that constantly affects our lives, yet we hardly think about it. That is, until we turn 50 and we're confronted with the evidence. I'm talking, of course, about gravity. Working against it keeps our muscles toned, and the rest of us, not so toned. But it keeps us standing upright, keeps water in our glasses and in the oceans. In fact, the Earth as we know it couldn't exist without gravity. All objects exert a gravitational pull on other objects. The strength of this pull is determined by the object's size and density. The Sun has more gravitational pull than the Earth, which holds the Earth in orbit around it. The Moon has less than the Earth, and thus orbits around us, but still has enough gravity to pull on Earth's water, causing tides. If the Earth had a smooth surface and were the same density in all places, gravity would be the same everywhere, but it's neither of these things. If you're standing next to a mountain and holding a lead weight on a string, that weight would not hang perfectly straight, but would be drawn slightly toward the mountain. Not enough for you to notice, but measurable with a sensitive instrument. Mountain ranges in general have stronger gravitational pull than, say, oceans, since rock is denser than water. It's the different densities of different places on Earth that cause Earth's gravity to vary. We'll explore the surprising things that changing gravity reveals on a future Earth Date. I'm Scott Tinker, and thank you for listening.
Earth Date is produced by the Bureau of Economic Geology at the University of Texas at Austin. Earth Date is researched by Julie Hennings, written by Harry Lynch, and distributed by Mark Blunt and Casey Walker. For more stories, follow us on Facebook or visit earthdate.org.
Tahibo Tea Club's original Pure Pau Diarco Super Tea helps build red corpuscles in the blood, which carry oxygen to our organs and cells. Our organs and cells need oxygen to regenerate themselves. The immune system needs oxygen to develop, and cancer dies in oxygen. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system. And it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1-pound package of tea is $49.99. $29.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TeheeboTeaClub.com. Tehebo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E, B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea, and then the word club. The complete website is TeheeboTeaClub.com. Or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TeheeboTeaClub.com.
In these trying times, many people are depressed and lost because the future of our society is up in the air. If you're turning to substance abuse because you are feeling there is no hope, we have a way for you to see the light. SAD, or Stop Abusing Drugs, is a nonprofit organization that will help you at no cost to you stop abusing drugs. Founded by Tony Navarchi, SAD will refer you to the top detox doctors in your area. SAD will pay every and any cost for you, including doctor visits, counseling, and medications. If you need help, SAD is there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you or a loved one needs help, or if you have a suggestion or idea for Tony, you can reach out to him by calling 844-493-3386. That's 844-493-3386. Or email Tony at tony@saddetox.com. That's Tony at SADDETOX.com.
Tune in to The Ferran Dozier Show. Music marks place and time, the soundtrack to life. Sunday nights at 8 p.m. on KCAA Radio. Playing the hottest hits and the coolest conversations. Sunday nights at 8 p.m. on The Ferran Dozier Show. With an array of music, talk, sports, community outreach, and veteran resources. With hits from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and today's hits. The Ferran Dozier Show on KCAA Radio on all available streaming platforms and 106.5 FM and 1050 AM. The Ferran Dozier Show on KCAA Radio.
Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday bed.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy Sunday. You're listening to Whatever Works on KCAA 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM. I'm your host, Sam Works.
I'm Kyle Kerrigan.
And tonight, we're just chopping it up. Literally, whatever works, any topics, anything like that. Before we went on to break, we're kind of talking about, we didn't say the word, but if I were to categorize it, I would say sacrificing.
Yeah.
Sacrificing opportunities. You know, Kyle had an amazing opportunity to almost like follow your dreams, right?
Yeah. No, I went to school for that.
Yeah.
This, you know.
And
And it was like everything lined up, but it was the wrong time. Isn't it funny how that works?
you know, I don't think it's there's a quote that I like to say. Hopefully it goes out to you guys. But it's not about the right opportunity. It's about making the opportunity right.
Yeah.
You know. But yes, no, I hate that though, because it happens so often, more often than not, where it's like, okay, you know, if I would have done this sooner, or if it would have just came in later in my life, you know. But realistically, it's like that's not how life works. Mm-hmm. Like life is gonna hit you when it hits you, and it's kind of like playing hide and seek, ready or not. You know, here I come. You know,
exactly. Yeah.
The thing about sacrifice though, is like, it's almost like rolling dice. It's a game of risk, because what you're sacrificing, what you have now, for what you're gonna get later. You know, and with me, like so many opportunities come my way, and I'm the guy who wants to just take every opportunity that comes my way.
Right.
But then that's just stretching myself out too thin. And I'm already there. Right, Ashley? I already stretched myself out too thin. Yep, shaking her head. And so now it's like, okay, so now you have to really look at the opportunities. What happened? Yeah, that Joe, man, I wish Joe would come on my show, man.
Yeah.
He's a man. He's a man of few words, but very impactful. Let me say. But no, sacrificing, it's huge. I know people that, like my friend, for example, he sacrificed the career that he loved for a woman that he loved. Was that the right choice? Well, that's for him to decide, right?
Yeah.
And then and then sacrificing family for career.
Right.
You know, relationships for, you know, occupations or like hobbies or anything like that. Or even like for me, you know, I love going to church every Sunday, but I just started a new job and they had me work today.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, now am I sacrificing, you know, church, or am I going to go to work? I just started. I can't be like, hey, you know, I'm going to have to wait it out a couple months and then be like, hey, you know, I haven't gone to church in a while. I would like to go to church, things like that. So it's all about the sacrifice. Go ahead.
I have a question.
Yes.
What does sacrifice mean to you?
Giving
What does
up-
that look like?
What it looks like?
Yeah, what does that look like in real time? You sacrificing something.
Honestly, the definition for me is giving something up for something else. But what it looks like for me, that's tough because it's almost giving up your past for your future, right? In real time. Because you have one thing that you have now that you're sacrificing for something else. Whether it's time, whether it's money, whether it's relationships, you know. But I think the biggest, I don't want to say it's a problem, but situation is making that decision, right? Because the worst thing you could do is not make a decision.
Right.
You know, if you have something now, but you're waiting for, or like something was waiting for you, but you don't allow it to come into your life, or you don't make any moves in any degree of, you know, options, then everything just starts to fall apart.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, let's talk about that from like a faith perspective too, right? There's sacrifice and then there's substitution. There's a difference. Substitution is like, oh, I'm going to Starbucks. I'm going to get a cold brew instead of this. You know, that's not sacrificing my daily routine.
Okay.
You know, sacrifice is, you know, if you believe in Christianity, you know, Jesus sacrificed his life for our sins. It's deep. It's deeper. You know, it's a lot more. You know, what am I willing to gain or lose off the situation for my family, for my faith, and for myself? And is this going to be like a polar change? You know, is this change going to be for the better, for the, you know, for the worse? And sacrifice is getting out of the comfort zone. In my
Professional
experience.
opinion.
Yeah, in my professional opinion. We got Ferran here.
Is the mic on? There you go.
So, imagine sacrifice as a way, kind of like what you were saying, from the spiritual piece of it. For me, is if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing in life, then there is no sacrifice.
Right.
Because sometimes we use sacrifice as I gotta give this up, like it's a loss.
Right.
But if you are being who you say you're gonna be in life, and you're doing the things that align with what you're up to, then is it really a sacrifice?
Right.
So I think that word, we were taught that word with so much emotion attached to it, like a loss. Like you said, making a decision. It's not the decisions we make, it's the unforeseen consequences that we're trying to avoid. But if you actually go look at the consequences before you make the decision, then you're free to make those decisions because you've talked to maybe 10 people, right?
Yeah.
So is it really a sacrifice? So I've just learned for myself, even as a spiritual aspect of it, I'm still trying to digest that from the spiritual piece.
Yeah.
But from the human being condition and the function, if I'm aligned with who I say that I am and I'm doing my purpose and my passion and my gift and I'm in that space, then I make room for that other stuff. So I don't look at it as a loss, like I got to give up this to go be with this or go do this.
Right.
No, I just, if it fits in what I'm aligned to or what I'm up to, then I figure out the time and schedule it and put it in place, make room
Right.
for it.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes sacrifice comes across as, like you were saying, like this emotional loss, and I got to give up this so I could get this, but not if you're in alignment with what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about being in alignment, right, real quick, because there's some people who are not even aware of their alignment in life, and then there's others who understand, who listen to their conscience, who follows their path, or at least tries to, and they know what their alignment is, but yet still falls off the tracks. Like, how does one keep themselves steady?
So let's talk about failure,
Okay.
right?
All right.
So what I learned most recently about failure is doing what you don't want to do and doing it anyways.
Yeah.
That's failure?
That's failure. Doing what you don't want to do, but you do it anyways. Because you're not.
Oh,
you're
okay. It
got
took me
it?
a second. It took me a
Right.
second.
Yeah.
Doing what you don't want to do and doing it anyways, that's failure. Because you're not putting your interest, you're not putting your all into it,
Right.
but you're doing it anyway. So you got to figure out why you're doing that if that's not what you even really care about. Are you in a survival state of mind, or are you lacking confidence and courage to go and do something else?
Right.
But you keep doing it, so you're disappointed, you're upset, it's a sacrifice, it's like all this because you don't really want to do it anyway. But it takes courage to say, I'm done with this,
Yeah.
and walk away from
The
it
courage,
and find
bro.
out why am I born? I mean, now you got to go to the questions that we ask ourselves silently.
Yeah.
Why am I here? What do I care about? What do I want to do? What do I really want to do? Not because my mom or my dad says I need to go and do this.
Yeah.
But what do you want? What fulfills you? A lot of times we chase money and we're still not fulfilled
Right.
because you're not doing what you want to do.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
let's say you do want money and you don't even give yourself like a certain number, right? You're like, oh, I just want a lot of money.
Thank you.
You're going to have a lot of money and still be like, no, I still need more money. Like, you're always going to be chasing it.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
always chase what you want, even though you already have it. You know?
Because if it's about, but you can chase the money, but you got to tell the truth. That's the result you want to produce, but how much money am I chasing?
Yeah.
But we don't tell the truth to ourselves.
Right.
You can have money, fame, whatever you want, but you got to say that this is the result. So if I want to make $1 million, then that's my first goal. But then you get if it's really about money and the money is filling a void,
Then it's not
so
going
now
to feel
what
enough.
does
no
money
matter.
mean to
yeah.
you?
Right.
Money is power. Yeah, money gives you the freedom to do whatever you want. But now you might get that first million and be like, "Ooh, I need another 2 million." And then-
Right.
Yeah,
so you're still
exactly.
not fulfilled.
Right,
It's not
right.
about, but somebody could make $40,000 a year and be just as happy and fulfilled with 40 grand, 50 grand.
Yeah. You know what I find that is kind of funny about money is that it really shows if you give anyone a lot of money, it shows the real character.
Definitely.
Yep.
Like people who don't have money, they're like on surface level they may seem or look humble, right? And then you give them $1 million and there's no list you can't say the words I want to say, but
Yeah.
they're actually really rude, you know? They're actually not forgiving. They're, you know, and
I know someone personally who inherited some money from their dad. They didn't have a lot of money before. So they got their inheritance, put the money in the bank, and anxiety came with that money because now they don't want to lose it. Now they don't want to spend it because they've never had that much money before.
so like, what do I do with it?
So now what do I do? And so now there's anxiety that comes with that.
Yeah.
You got to be free. We have a relationship to money, but you got to tell the truth on what do you want. What is your relationship to that money?
Yeah.
And people want power, But it's really freedom to do freedom to buy where you want to go. Whatever. That's what money provides.
Right.
I'm not rich, but I could go to anywhere in the country right now if I wanted to.
Right.
And you don't have to be a millionaire to do that.
No, you don't. And that's the thing. A lot of people think like you have to be a millionaire to, say you made it or be content,
Yeah, it's the mindset.
It's the mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually really surprised. I always thought like, seeing a basketball game or a baseball, football, or like a sports or anything like UFC, I thought that was only for like the rich people.
Yeah.
And then I found out that like people are just going to concerts, doing their thing. I was like, how much are these tickets? And it's like actually affordable. I'm like, yo, I'm kind of tripping right now. I mean, going to buying like airplane tickets too. Like there's all these people like, oh, if you're traveling, like you must have a lot of money, But honestly, you can still travel and not spend too much money. You know, I mean, it does take money to go there, but
well, like think about who pays more money. If I go to Starbucks every day, I got the grande whatever, every day, 365 days a year. Or if I travel and go on 3 trips, just 3 trips in 1 year for a weekend, so that's 6 days. Who's spending more money? Yeah, but see, that's the thing. But you get the Starbucks drinker telling me I can't go on that $800 flight, but you're spending $800 a month on coffee.
yeah.
It's the mindset, and it's where you put your money.
I also think it's in a sense like instant gratification because like what can you get sooner? Your cravings. You can satisfy your cravings first.
That's the thing.
Or you can hold off on that and then have like a dream that you can fulfill.
You talk about discipline.
Bro, discipline's tough, dude.
Tell me about it. I got it from the military, and I'm still struggling today. Like, I hate this.
Bro, discipline's so hard. Like, I told my buddy, because he's in the office every day at 8 a.m., but he goes to the gym at 6 a.m., and I told him, I was like, I came up, okay, the word rationalize, if you break it up, that means ration like lies. Right. So I'm like, dude, I can't go to the gym in the morning because I get all nauseous and stuff. Like I have to wait, And he was like, so you're putting your emotions in front of your dreams. I was like, dude. I was like, bro, I like you, but I hate you right now, bro. Yeah. And that's just how it is. A lot of people literally put their emotions in front of their dreams.
Yeah.
And that's why sacrifice feels like it feels. That's why it's tied.
Yeah.
It's tied to me, it's tied to emotions because we were taught that you have to sacrifice. You got to give up this to get this. And that's not.
Yeah.
In a survival state of mind, it's a perfect concept. It's a perfect concept.
And like, it's also about breaking the mindset too. You talk to your parents, you got to go to school. You got to go to school for 4 years. You got to get this job. You got to get this job. And you got to buy this house. But if you look at the most successful people in this world, they don't follow that criteria. They don't follow that formula. You got to go out there and make something for yourself, Seize every opportunity.
So my last piece with you on that, I just talked to a parent on Saturday. Parents want our children to turn out. And sometimes we put our concerns on that child and not listen to what your concerns are.
Right.
So if I set my concerns aside and say, what are you worried about in the world? What do you care about? And you tell me what your worries and concerns are, and I'm going to help strengthen those worries and concerns so they're no longer a worry to you.
Right.
And then you can go and be free to figure out your life. It's not my it's not my life, it's your life.
Yeah.
But the best I can do is teach you those principles. Right? So you can develop and then go, hey, if you don't want to go to college, don't go to college. Well, who do you want to be? What do you want to do?
Right.
Yeah.
Go try it. You might not like it.
Yeah.
But at least you can say, I tried it.
I don't like it.
I
Yeah.
didn't like it, but I tried it.
Cool. Move on. More opportunities.
My show's next anyway.
Yeah. All right, guys. Stay around for Ferran show at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Fran's not leaving the mic.
Happy Sunday, guys. Stay blessed.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting